trying to make this 45 minutes, but you know what? If we go long, we go long. I like talking about butterflies. Not that big of a deal. As long as you want to hang with me, I'm willing to hang with you. That's simple. All right, so hold your hats. Nobody guessed the next strategy that we're going to show, and it may be new. I call it a modified butterfly, and this truly is a modified butterfly. And I actually don't have this strategy in my book. So there's 40 different strategies, and I have about 6 different types of butterflies and outlooks and strategies and modified butterflies. But this one in particular isn't in there. So I went into the options play software and doctored up a profit and loss graph to try to help us understand this trade. So we're going to use the same examples on that butterfly. The market's at 4,047. We're buying the 440 put, selling 2 of the 420 puts, but you notice this one's in red. On the other slide, we had that put at 4,000. Now that put is at 4,005. We went up 5 points. So let's think about this. Our long put spread is still the same amount. It's still 20 points. Our max upside is given and provided to us by the long put spread. But the short put spread is not as wide. It's only 15 points wide. So what does that mean about the short put spread? If the short put spread is smaller in width, it's going to bring in less of a credit. And here's the beautiful thing about a butterfly. If you just sit and you think about them, what you're really trying to do, and think about how we started this presentation looking at the butterfly inside the options playbook, is you are really selling a put spread trying to pay for a long spread. That's what a butterfly is. You sell a put spread to try to pay for a long spread. And you're further out of the money with the put spread, so you're never, in theory, going to be able to pay for it. But you can greatly reduce the cost. So when we sell our put spread here and we don't bring in as much of a credit, guess what? We're going to have more cost. So I'm going to jump back to the slide before. Our cost was $2.25. And you can decide for yourself if this trade-off is worth doing. If we go to the next one and we jump to this one, it's $3.50. So $2.25, $3.50. You're talking about $1.25 difference, $125 for each butterfly that we put on in BKNG. That's the difference. Now, this is a little different. I apologize for the graph. That I don't have a graph inside the options playbook, I guess, would be what I'm apologizing for. But here is where the underlying stock is at. So I put this in the options play software, and I use the profit and loss graph here. So we're paying a little bit more. This area right here is $3.50. $3.50 here. If we go back to here, $2.25 here. But the short spread, since we're paying more, gives us a benefit if the market tanks on us. So if we go down and we blow through this strike and continue on down, the fact that this is 5 points less than our other standard butterfly means we get $5 at the end in our butterfly. It's going to be worth $5 if we went to sell it with no time premium left in this option contract. But we paid more. So we paid $3.50. And this actually would be green all the way down because we're profitable all the way down on this trade. From this point, from our 440 strike, all the way down to 0, we would be profitable on this butterfly. The cost savings is there, right? And the cost savings might be there if you're talking about doing just a a standard long put spread, it just wouldn't be as amazing of a cost savings as it is with the modified butterfly. But we paid $3.50. So 5 minus $3.50 means that from here on down, we'd be making $1.50. From here on down, we'd be losing $2.25. Lose $2.25, lose $2.25, lose $3.50, make $1.50. Did I get your attention? So this is just a different way, and I think of this as a truly modified butterfly. I hate modified butterfly for what I call a skip strike butterfly inside the options playbook, because to me, a skip strike butterfly is more of a credit spread than it is a butterfly, and that's the way that I approach those trades. But there's different times where they make sense. If I was going to get bearish on booking holdings, we can still adjust this trade, and that my adjustment would work in this underlying. I personally would be more apt to pay more upfront to have the possibility of making money anywhere below our protective strike of 4,005. So let's go through the numbers. The max risk is $350 or $350 for every 1x2x1 butterfly that we put on. The max profit is 20 minus $350 or $1650. It's a little bit less than our other one because we paid more for it up front, or $1,650. And remember, if you make that, you get the stupid award for that. The break-even point is only one of them. If you go back to this slide, we have 2 break-even points. We got one here and you got one here. On this slide, we have 1 break-even point, which ends up being right here. So the underlying stock is actually, this is off a little bit. It should be right about here, where the underlying, just up just a smidge from where this line is showing. All right, and then that would mean this is where we're going to break even. We need the market to come down at an expiration to 440 minus 440 minus the 350, or 4,036.50. That's where this point would be on the break even. All right, any questions on that one? How does this affect margin? That is a great question, Ken. The same way the regular butterfly does, or the standard butterfly, for lack of a way to say it, right? So standard, I guess I should go in this slide and maybe make it say standard butterfly, but yeah, it's the exact same thing. Because if you look at this, there's no unlimited risk. There's no additional risk that's been added to the trade. The additional risk comes up front in the cost. So you're paying, and this is normally the case, it's fractional, the amount of difference, and it depends on the underlying. Everything depends on the underlying, depends on implied volatility, everything to go with it. But you're paying $2.25 here, and to remove that risk on the downside, you got to pay $3.50. So you're talking about $1.25 to be profitable for anywhere on down. So that's how it affects the margin. It's $1.25 more to put on the trade, but the max risk is the net debit paid.